Welcome to the House of Wise. I'm Tommy, and this is a space where we get into the questions that most people think about but don't actually say out loud. Every episode, we'll pick a why, like why friendships get complicated, why we overthink everything, and why life feels simple one second and really messy the next. Along the way, we're going to be pulling in stuff that's helped to shape how we view the world, like the movies we grew up on and the shows we obsessed over, and maybe those moments in time that kind of helped shape our view of everything. It's not about having all the answers, it's about being real, figuring these things out, and having conversations that actually feel honest. So, whether you're here for something light, something real, or just to hear two people connect the dots between life and the culture around it, you're in the right space. Welcome, everybody. I'm Tommy. This is my beautiful wife, Eden.
Hello. How are y'all
And
doing?
yeah, we're doing great, doing great. So let's get into this. We're gonna start with a new segment. Something that we figure if we're doing podcasts, we might as well implement some things that we can come back to. So this week we've got two of them. The first one we're gonna call Core Memory of the Week. So Garden Girl, I mean Eden, right? Sorry, Eden. All right, we're gonna roll that back. 3, 2, 1. So Eden. All right, cool. We nailed it that time. What is your core memory of the week last week? What happened? Want to talk about it?
Well, it was just me and the girls because you were
True.
traveling man.
It happens.
Um, and uh, I I just thought that it was funny that while you were gone, a lot of the times I do things that I think I would enjoy, but maybe you wouldn't as much. And so one of those things was buying a water bottle that I wanted.
You thought that I
I
would enjoy it or I wouldn't enjoy it?
That you wouldn't enjoy it. So like I
You're right.
watched
I
a
don't
Disney
enjoy I didn't
movie
enjoy it.
that I didn't think that you would want to watch. And I watched like an anime that I didn't think you would enjoy. So I do that like when you're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I went to go look for this water bottle that I'd heard about, and I even like went to a store to like look at them and decide like what size I wanted, if they had the colors I wanted. And they didn't have the color I wanted, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll just order one for myself. And it's almost Mother's Day, so that will be like my Mother's Day gift to myself. And I put it in the online shopping cart and was about to pay for it. But then I was like, nah, I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till I can just go get it at a store, like go to a different store, um, instead of waiting for it to come in the mail. So I didn't buy it. And then you called me like a couple hours later and you were like, okay, so I found I wanted to buy this for you because you had been looking for it and wanting it, and it was the water bottle that I wanted. And so I just thought it was funny that I almost bought one for myself, but then my loving husband got it for me, and you brought it over state lines and lugged it around for hours with
Yeah,
me.
it was definitely, I was skirting the lines of, is this a federal offense? Can I bring a water bottle across state lines is something that crossed my mind. Haven't heard anything yet, but I think we're in the clear.
Yeah, I think you're good. What about you?
So thanks for asking. My week was very busy. I had a work retreat where I was gone Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, it was work back, back to the grindstone, back to normal. Um, this weekend I went to Utah to go see my buddy retire from the military, and on that trip, like you mentioned, I got that water bottle that you so fondly are swooning over right now. Um, it wasn't fun. I almost threw that water bottle away a few times. Um, just
Thank you for not.
heavy duty. All right, I said duty. All right, so yeah, I went to Utah. I was there. I guess the core memory for me was spending 20 hours in the Houston airport. But
Oh
more than
man.
that, seeing family at the Houston airport. I was able to track down Trisha, who was flying on that day as well. And I thought I was supposed to be boarding like right after that. So I was like, okay, I got to go. We'll see you later. So I did. I boarded the plane. Um, and we were just sitting there for 2 hours. I fell asleep. I woke up and the pilot
Oh
was like,
man.
"So bad news, flight's canceled." And I was like, "Great." I just used my boarding pass. I had no idea, so I didn't know what to do. I got an email from United immediately. It said they put me on another flight. Flight got delayed. But finally, I got home. 20 hours in the Houston airport. Early day,
Ugh.
just rough. So that's my core memory last week. Um, I know the Houston airport like the back of my hand. I've walked the whole
Oh
thing.
man.
So
You built some character.
I did. Awesome. Well, you've also got a new segment that we're
Yeah.
going to be, going back to from time to time. Let's hear about it.
Yeah. It is things that would not fly today. So because we're millennials, we mostly grew up in the 90s. So what is something from the 90s that wouldn't be as acceptable today?
Hmm. It's a good question. Um, so like what from the 90s wouldn't fly today?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I might be a bad answer because you can still do it today. A lot of people sneak around to do it, and some people, you know, act like they don't do it, which we all know you do. All right, everybody does.
Oh,
Okay, fireworks. I feel like growing
okay.
up, fireworks were a lot easier, a lot less rules around them. Um, like I maybe there were rules, maybe I just didn't know them, but like I would make little like noise bombs with sparklers by wrapping them in
Oh
duct
my goodness.
tape. It was so much fun. So, um, I'm not advocating for anybody to do that if it's against the rules now. I don't know what the rules are anymore. But I do miss the days where like you would go driving on the 4th of July. You drive with your family to your favorite spot, get out, lay a blanket on the grass, and watch the fireworks. A lot of cities are
Yeah.
doing drone shows now. Um,
Yeah. It's not the same.
it's not. I mean, I like the things that you can do with a drone. Like I saw a Darth Vader one, looked really cool. Um, I'm
Mm.
call me old fashioned, all right, but I like shoot thing in sky, go boom. Okay, like that's kind of I'm that simple, all right. Neanderthal,
America.
America. Got my Bud Light open, America. Um, they still drink Bud Light. That's a thing. Anyways,
I think so.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know beer. Anyway, um, so anyway, nothing screams America like Bud Light. You know what I mean? Um, anyways, when I picture people yelling America, I usually picture them with Bud Light. Um, anyways,
This bud's
yeah,
for you.
this. Hey, they're not paying for the sponsorship. All right. So yeah. Anyways, fireworks. I don't feel like people do them anymore. Cities are moving away
No,
from them, and I miss the days of fireworks. They were a lot of fun.
they were. Yeah. It's something, especially like 4th of July, that you're looking forward to as a kid.
Yeah,
Something like semi dangerous that your parents let you do.
some Husker do's, Husker don'ts. With or without the scooter stick. Um, If you've never seen Joe Dirt, we can't be friends.
Uh,
Um,
I've seen parts of it.
you know, mm, you're lucky. Um, you are lucky. What about you? What is something that wouldn't fly today that did back
I
in the 90s?
feel like weird colored foods. Like, do you
Okay.
remember the ketchup that they marketed as being like green ketchup or like purple ketchup?
No.
Or
Wait.
I just feel like a lot of
Are
things
we
were like
sticking with
very
ketchup?
bright
Is ketchup
colored.
the condiment that had the different colors?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Interesting.
remember commercials for ketchup and they're like, it's green now, like to be fun.
I want to know who's sitting in that meeting going, "How do we sell more ketchup?" I got a great idea. I got a great idea, man. Green.
Maybe they thought it would be kind of like appealing to kids that were obsessed with like Nickelodeon's slime.
This is another
Like people would
problem.
get slimed all the
If you're
time.
a massive corporation selling ketchup and you're trying to appeal to kids, maybe you've lost the plot.
I think so,
Maybe,
yeah. It did not
like,
sell well.
yeah, what kid is buying ketchup? That we don't even, okay, as a kid, you don't think ketchup. You don't go to the grocery store and, man, I hope my mom gets ketchup. No, you're like, I want that mac and cheese. All right.
Hmm.
Where's those chicken nuggies?
Yeah.
What are they? The pizza poppers? What are they called? You know what I'm talking about? The
Oh,
Totino's pizzas things.
pizza pockets or something like that.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I,
I don't know.
I didn't give two.
It did not sell well, but
I
it
did
just
not
made
give
me
two.
think like we put so many dyes in our food back then just to make it look fun.
Yeah.
And
Did
now it's like, no, everything natural. No
yeah.
added things.
And I mean, to a degree, you still it's still a problem. You get the organic stuff and it, dude. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, but like, I was buying some fruit that I thought was gonna be like solid. Turns out it was
Uh-huh.
sprayed with sugar. I was like, oh, okay, great. It's not what I thought I was getting.
Lies.
Right? Exactly. Um, awesome. Well, speaking of, some things that maybe didn't fly when you were a kid, um, today we're talking about growing up.
Ew.
Yeah. Um,
I
to
don't
you,
want to grow up.
what is growing up to you? Like to me, growing up is realizing that maybe the adults who were responsible for you, the ones who said you can do anything, you can be whoever you want, were primarily the adults or the people in the room who were eating cereal in their pajamas, trying to make it. like, um, they were just hoping
Yeah.
for the best, man. So I think for me, growing up is realizing that that the people telling you to follow your dreams are like the people who are like trying to figure it out as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, you don't
Yeah.
really think about that too often.
Yeah. Like for me, especially with like my parents or like teachers, I thought that they had all the answers. But
You
then,
do.
like growing up, you realize actually they didn't. And it's okay that I don't.
Yeah, you do growing up. You think they have all the answers. You think, that we put them on a pedestal. And
Mhm.
I think it's great that we do because it really shows that we respect, the things that we're learning from them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it's a good idea. I'm not saying it always is. Um, but yeah, I guess for me, like it's just like, at what age did you stop feeling like a kid? Like, or did that ever
Hmm.
like come? What was that like?
Yeah, what was it like? Um, I feel like it's kind of gradual. I guess like when I stopped feeling like a kid is maybe more like physically, like, oh, I can't just like do a cartwheel whenever, or if I hurt myself, it takes a lot longer to recover. Um, and
Literally
like
things
not
I've
having
never
as
thought
much
about.
energy. What?
Said literally things I've never thought about. Like I don't think I've ever put any time into wondering about like cartwheels. Um, and if I'm gonna do something and I get hurt, I usually that's like a later thing. So it's
Mm,
like I don't know. I don't worry about that up front.
yeah. I mean, I guess like something kind of recent is we went to a roller rink, and that was like nostalgic in itself because
Yeah.
growing up, my town had a roller rink and we would go there all the time. Um, and so we went and we were just roller skating around, and it was a lot of fun. But I kept thinking, like, I don't want to fall because I don't know if I could get back up if I fall. And like I never thought about that as a kid. Like if I fell, it'd be like, well, get back up, let's keep going. Um,
Now you second
but
guess
yeah.
everything. So was that like a gradual thing that happened, or was it just something that you just recognized like one day? You're like, oh, I guess I can't
Uh
do a cartwheel anymore, or
yeah,
oh,
that I just
why
like
am I worried about this?
realized one day. Yeah. Like when I thought about like, oh, I don't know how I would recover if I fell. Like would I be able to get back up or whatever and keep going? It just made me think of like elderly people where they're always worried about falling and like breaking a hip. And it was like, oh no, what if I'm closer to that than I thought?
Okay.
So it's just like random stuff that comes up that makes me think, like, oh yeah, I'm not as young as I think that I am. So for me, it's more physical. I feel like um, mentally, when did I stop feeling like a kid? Probably when I started paying my own bills.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's where the magic is like gone, right?
Yeah,
When you start paying your own bills, you're like, I'm responsible for what? Um,
right.
I don't know how well you were prepped for it. I was not prepped for this at all. Um, I guess my next question would be like, at what point did you feel like you were finally or genuinely on your own? Um, for me, it was like 16 years old. That's when I left dad's house. I moved out on my own at that point. I wasn't on my own, but I was from like a certain point of view. Stayed with family, stayed
Mm-hmm.
with friends. Um, so never genuinely on my own. But the first time I felt genuinely on my own was, I say, a couple months after I showed up. Like I was already scoping out apartments, where to live. I wasn't done with school by any means, like senior in high school, and
Yeah.
was looking at like apartments. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. Um, yeah, so it was kind of tough. Like I think at 16 is when I genuinely felt on my own. Felt like that's when I had to like like grow up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot, through military service, and then coming out of that, just going into college. still continue to learn, but I think there was always this, and maybe it's just most guys, where we're all a little immature, throughout our entire life. I got to see
Hmm.
that with my grandpa, when he was like in his 80s, where he would like poke at me and then make a joke about something. And um, so I love to think that like we're all a little immature, like for most of our lives. But
Yeah.
if I had to like pinpoint a time where I genuinely felt like, hey, you've got to figure this out, I would say it was when I was 16.
Well,
Yeah, yeah. What about you? What was that like for you?
um, probably after college, just because it just it wasn't as structured. So like up until that point in my life, I always had like school. And yeah, college, I moved away from home, but I don't know, it still felt very structured. Um, and that, like, yeah, these are the options for housing, and you just choose one of them, and then you choose what your major is, and that dictates what classes you need to take. And then you usually go home for breaks. So it still felt very much like growing up school. And so once I graduated, it was a lot more, there was a lot more variability and uncertainty. So I'd say then.
Yeah, I think when I was in college, it was far more in like uncertain. Yeah, it was I was trying to figure all of those things out. Um, Unfortunately, I wasn't ever taught like what the bills were, what bills should look like, and factoring those
Mm-hmm.
into like what you pay for rent. Affordability was never on the list of like priorities. It was always, what am I going to be the most comfortable in? That being said, I couldn't afford most of the things I would be comfortable in. So it was um, really trying to find a job that worked for me, that helped kind of fund at least the apartment I wanted to be in, but also still allotted me the time to go to school. It was really tough because most jobs don't balance that really well. Um,
Yeah.
and it's you get really lucky when you find something that does balance, like allows you to balance work and school, um, and do it respectfully. I think a lot of times employers are like, well, I'm paying for your time anyways, so just go do the thing. Which
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately is how most of my jobs were in college. Um, but I did end up finding a really good job that balanced things really well and paid me pretty decent for what the job was. So, um,
Nice.
yeah, it was all figuring it out. I didn't even know how to fill out the FAFSA. Like that was I looked at the form and I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do here. So,
Yeah.
um, the second I needed mom and dad's info, and I'm like, I don't even talk to them. So, yeah, it was kind of tough. Did you did you ever have like a toy or um like a game or like something that you owned that made you feel like rich, like when you were growing up? Was there ever anything you were like, I've got this thing, kind of just put you on cloud nine?
Hmm. Um, the one that like first came to mind was a Game Boy Advance. Uh, because it was like mine. We had consoles growing up and stuff, but my
Mm-hmm.
brothers would mostly take those over. So,
Are you saying
uh,
they wouldn't let you play?
no.
Okay, you're not throwing strays today.
Uh, and so yeah, me getting the Game Boy Advance is like, well, yeah, like this. only one person can play it and nobody can really, it's hard for other people to watch you play it. I don't know. And you can play it anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I just felt like, oh yeah, I'm so cool. I have a Game Boy and I'm playing games that I want to play, not just games that my brothers prefer or whatever. So yeah, that was one of them. What about you?
I did. So growing up, like I think we talked about like last week, Power Rangers was a thing for me. You might hear this. This might be a running theme of Power Rangers when we talk about my youth. Um, but I remember in the apartment complex I was in, there were so many kids who all had Power Rangers toys. My who would become my stepbrother. He had Power Ranger toys. I remember one of the neighbor kids also have Power Ranger toys. He also had a Sega Genesis, which loved
Whoa.
it. Loved playing Mortal Kombat. A lot of fun. But the one thing that I ended up getting, and it was for Christmas, was the White Ranger Tiger Zord. Which, if you
Whoa.
remember, like those toys, they were pretty hefty and they weren't cheap. Actually, I was looking this up recently. For that same
Yeah.
toy, yeah, that same toy today is worth like $800 in used condition. And I'm like,
Dang.
I should have kept my toys. Um, but yeah, it was the White Tiger Zord. Back then he was my favorite, and that Zord was everything at that time for me. So,
Hmm.
um, that toy had me feeling like I was rolling up to the playground in style. Every time I walked in with my Tiger Zord.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that was it. Like after that, nothing else ever really made me feel that way. I do think in like the eighth grade, any Nikes I ever had. If I had a pair of Nikes,
Oh, uh-huh.
I felt like I was rich. Um,
Oh yeah.
because, you're growing up with Spalding, clothing attire from Kmart.
Skechers.
No, I wasn't. We didn't get Skechers, man. We got the whatever is
Oh,
good at Payless. And this is like the old Payless before they got Airwalks. Because I remember when I thought Airwalks were
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, and then they became a Payless item. Um, I'm talking like Wilson shoes. Like you were, does Wilson even make shoes anymore? I don't even know.
I don't
Um,
know. I don't know. Are you like Kmart type of shoes? I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, I did. I had like my fair share of Kmart shoes. Some of like I wasn't allowed to have Jinkos growing up. I
Um,
remember a friend gave me a pair of Jinkos, and my parents made me give them back,
no.
because they just didn't like the look. Too baggy, too baggy. And I was, but then
Yeah.
they bought me some like Kmart baggy jeans. Because like Kmart tried to get into the baggy jean trend. These were kind of cool. They had like neon green zippers on the side, stuff like that. But they were black
Ooh.
jeans. Um, so I remember that they were like, I was in an awkward between sizes phase, and when we got them, I fit into them. When I started school, I no longer fit into these, so they were like high water baggy pants on me,
Oh
which
no.
the amount of, is the flood on its way? Like the amount of jokes, I was not expecting, but I also
Oh
expected to fit into my
man.
clothes back then. Um, yeah. Anyways, Nikes. So yeah, Say all of that to say that Nikes were the thing that did make me feel like I was rich at the time.
Yeah, that's a big one. That was definitely a statement. I mean, they still kind of are, but I feel like back then, definitely.
I feel like less so when you have like the shoe itself. Like you have a basketball player wearing your shoe, and he goes to make a
Uh-huh.
cut on the basketball court, and the entire sole falls off. Um, that to me is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't like hold you in such high regard anymore. So
Oops.
honestly, I don't remember the last pair of Nikes I owned. Um,
Yeah.
I'm more of an I'm more of an Adidas guy now. So
I always liked Adidas. Those were the shoes that I thought made me look cool.
the Superstars were a great line. They still are a great line,
Hmm.
and I still feel cool in them. So um,
Yeah.
no, that's felt. Also, I like their logo more, and I feel like their workout gear is better.
Mm,
So shots fired
yeah.
at Nike.
Yeah. So, like, along with growing up and like feeling cool or uncool, what do you think was like your most uncool or embarrassing phase of
Ooh,
growing up?
probably that same phase, the baggy jeans phase.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, no, like I like baggy clothes still. Like I'm a fan. Um, I just think that what I perceived as cool wasn't. Like I think that that era of life, I didn't. I was wearing baggy jeans, baggy clothes, listening to NSYNC, and like reading Nancy Drew. I did not know who I was, where I was, you know. So I feel like that era of my life was just trying to figure out where do I go from here. I remember having, most embarrassing for me would probably be talking about. I think it was the eighth grade, um, where I actually, a lot people may not remember, but I do. Having like a police escort home from school, like I had to get in the car to
Whoa.
have them drive me home. Yeah, there was a bunch of things, but a lot of it was fighting. Um, so for me, that was pretty embarrassing to like have to walk to a parked police car that was right out in front of the building where parents and your friends could see you getting into this car. They all know that that is not anybody I'm related to. So, um, yeah, I
Ooh.
think that for me, that was the most embarrassing. So I turned around in ninth grade, new leaf, and didn't fight anymore. And I think I was in trouble for fighting one other time. And
Hmm.
that was actually because I was caught defending myself in the moment. Yeah, in the hallway, somebody was acting up, and I turned around and defended myself, and the principal saw what had happened. He was standing right there, but
Hmm.
it still made me feel like, oh man, I messed up. Um, so yeah, I think that was probably the worst era of my life. The most embarrassing, I would say,
Yeah.
most embarrassing era, of me to like reflect on. Do you have anything that stands out? I know, is it the fact that you won everything at every summer
No.
camp you went to, that you had the
Ooh,
trophy?
that's my most triumphant era.
Okay, so then what's the most embarrassing for you?
I would say probably like my early 20s, which maybe not a lot of people would think about. I feel like it's mostly your teens or middle school years where it's like, ah, oh, so cringe. But I feel like I was so introverted during that period that I was like hyper aware of trying not to do things that are embarrassing. And I was very quiet. So I don't remember a lot of embarrassing things happening. I know they did, but I feel like in my 20s, uh, that is kind of when you start, a lot of people start growing up, or when I did anyway. And um, I don't know, like just feeling more confident than I was portraying, I guess. I think I ruminate a lot,
That's a
and
terrible
that,
practice.
I know, that is the period of my life that my brain always goes back to if uh, I want to feel embarrassed about myself, I guess.
I mean, I get
Um,
it. You're going through a lot back then too. Like you're still. I think that's where a lot of people end up trying to figure themselves out. Is like
yeah.
during that time period, and for some that can be a really embarrassing time. Now, did I do embarrassing things during that time? Yes, 100%. I just think that looking back, I'm more embarrassed of like my eighth grade year than I am
Yeah.
of the embarrassing things that I did in my 20s, which I did some pretty embarrassing things in my 20s. I'm not proud of all of it, but they're memories and they're good ones. They're fun ones. So I don't think I'm, you can't be embarrassed of something that you had a lot of fun doing. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yep.
all right. What about now? Okay. So if you were to fast forward, let's roll the clock forward 20 years. What do you
Okay.
hope that your future self remembers about this season of life?
Hmm. Um, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Uh, that I was actually making an effort to better myself or be more of my true self, I guess. Um, and not just do something because I wanted to please someone else. Um, yeah, just figuring out really what I like and what I don't like, and not just being like, I don't know, when someone asks me a question or uh, being like, I'm fine with doing whatever, because that was my answer all growing up. And I'm trying now to voice my opinion or realize that I have an opinion on things. Um, yeah, I think that's probably a big thing for me anyway.
Yeah, I think
What about
that's
you?
a pretty big that's a pretty big thing to take with you. If there's a common thing that we've mentioned throughout all of the three different topics or whatever we've talked about today, um, figuring yourself out has been a part, like a staple in all of that. I think that's really cool. Um, that even kind of going back to the start of the chat, today you would be that responsible adult giving a kid the advice to chase their dreams and do whatever
Right.
to do whatever as you're eating cereal trying to figure life out still. And honestly, I feel the same way. Hitting getting to be a little bit older, without really realizing it kind of sneaks up on you pretty quick.
Yeah.
um, the thing that I hope that I remember in this season of life is that even as you get older and more opinionated and stuck in certain ways or avenues, don't wall yourself up. Be open to more. Stretch your wings a little bit more. You're not done flying yet. Um, it's never too late to learn how to do something new. And so, what I would hope that I take with me is that whether it's professionally, because there's been a lot of changes for me professionally, um, doing something completely different than I've ever done before, um, and yeah, it's just that you can continue to learn, you can continue to grow,
Yeah.
and you can continue to find success as long as you put your head down and do the work. I think that is what I hope I take with me, because you hear the phrase, you can't like teach an old dog new tricks. And so I just always want to remember that you can. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are, you can always learn to do something new. You can always learn, you can always grow, you can always seek that knowledge, and using your experience, put it to work, which is, how we all try to navigate things, is through experience and rationalizing it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can continue to progress and improve. You're never
That's
you've never really made it.
right. I think that's the lesson, right? You never really made it. Even when you think you have, like, still so much road to travel. So, awesome. Well, I think that's a great place to end it. How do you think?
Yeah. I've reflected on things that I haven't thought about for a little bit. So that was a lot
Kind
of
of cool.
fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I hope that next week we have, some more fun talking about something new. Maybe some new recurring segments. But yeah, I can't wait to do this again. Thanks again for episode 2 in the books.
Yeah. Ooh.
Anyways,
And the crowd
I'm
goes
gonna get a
wild.
soundboard. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a
We don't need one.
soundboard hooked up at some point. But Eden, thank you so much for doing episode 2 with me. This has been a lot of fun. House of
Thank
Wise,
you.
second week in a row, and it's in the books. So
Yeah.
coming at you guys a little bit
History.
late this time. Be sure you do the thing if you guys have enjoyed this chat. We'll be doing it every week. Click that like and subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Leave a comment on the video. Don't like what we said? Let us know. Like what we said? Let us know. Leave a comment. Follow us on Spotify. Do all the things. We're on Instagram, Twitter.
Do it.
And yeah, we love you guys. So thanks for being here with us today. And we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
All right, we'll see you later.